Defeat to Plymouth on Saturday brought Rovers back down to earth and reminded them of the challenge ahead despite a positive first half performance. The signs were good for Gary McSheffrey in stages, but with no points to show, it was a missed opportunity for his side. The next test is a South Yorkshire derby against table toppers Rotherham, who come to the Eco Power Stadium looking to take another step closer to an immediate return to the Championship. It's a massive game at both ends of the table as Rovers take on Rotherham United. Hello everybody and welcome back for the latest edition of the Inside Rovers pre-match show, looking ahead to this Tuesday's South Yorkshire derby against Rotherham United. Joining me to do just that, editor of the Doncaster Free Press, Liam Hoden, and Rovers striker and former Rotherham man, Kieran Agard. Kieran, first of all, how are you? How are you settling into life at the club?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, it's been great, the lads have been fantastic, the staff, everyone around the club have been very welcoming. So yeah, I'm delighted I've settled in well.
A busy one tonight then. Let's take a look at what's coming up on the show. We take a look at the goals from Saturday's game against Plymouth. Gary McSheffrey looks ahead to going up against opposite number Paul Warne.
I really like how he builds relationships with his players.
Deadline day signing Rio Griffiths discusses his return to English football.
I couldn't explain to you how excited I couldn't.
And we look ahead to a visit from the Millers. So Kieran, as we said there, a couple of weeks at the club now. It's strange that you've faced two of your old clubs in the last few games and you've got another one on Tuesday night. How nice has it been to have that regular football though early on in your Rovers career?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's been fantastic. As I said, obviously everyone's been so welcoming, and to get on the pitch as well, to get them games in me, it's been fantastic. So hopefully we can get the results that we want now and kick on.
Liam, it's been strange. A lot of the season so far for Rovers, they haven't had attacking options whatsoever, down to the bare bones for the majority of it. All of a sudden in January, Gary McSheffrey is now flush with options that he can mix and match it depending on the opposition.
Yeah, it does just show what Rovers have been missing in that first half of the season. I know obviously some people point to when you bring up injuries as though it's an excuse, but it's just a fact. Rovers have lacked options and particularly in attacking areas. And we've seen the difference in these last few weeks, just how having those options, having those different types of forwards as well, like Kieran coming in, like we saw at the weekend, Mipo or Biko coming in as well, what it can do. What the approach can be different. You can mix things up a lot more. And obviously, what it brings is that greater threat that we have seen over these last few weeks.
Kieran, as a centre forward, you need that composition to keep you on your toes, don't you? You can never sort of rest on your laurels. But also, as a striking unit, you need to be able to push each other to keep going and keep striving for more.
Yeah, most definitely. On the training pitch, we're always out there finishing and obviously encouraging each other. And obviously the competition, of course, it brings out the best in you. And that's obviously what we need, going into games. We need to be full of confidence. And the competition is really good.
Yeah, Rovers' last game then against Plymouth Argyle, they weren't able to build on a good start. Here are the best bits from the Eco Power Stadium. Liam, after such a positive start, Rovers could have been and probably should have been out of sight after 10 or 15 minutes. Then there was a bit of a lull in the performance and a bit of a drop off. But then towards the end of that first half, Rovers came again and a couple of chances just before the break that, looking back, they had to take.
Yeah, it's the old adage, you've got to take chances when they come, and you do worry when you see chances being missed and not being taken that it's going to come back to bite you, particularly against a team that have done as well as Plymouth have this season. So, yeah, it were really, really positive first half, and I think that were reflected in the reception that the players got as they left the pitch at the end of the first half. We've not heard that to that extent, that volume of applause and cheers as the players leave the pitch. We've not heard that anywhere near as much this season. So it were good to see. And I think a lot of the stuff that were produced in that first half can certainly be carried forward. And as players find the feet a little bit more, players like Kieran and Meepo, these opportunities will find the back of the net. It's good to see Rovers creating chances, but you have, of course, got to take them.
Kieran, I know you were on the bench at the weekend as those chances are coming and going in the first half, particularly as a former Plymouth man, knowing the quality they've got in their team. Was there always that thought in the back of your head, listen, we need to take one of these, otherwise they'll go up the other end and do exactly what they did do?
Yeah, it's always kind of in the back of your head, because we had a great start, and obviously want to get another one before half time. But as I said, obviously we take great positives from that. We created chances. We were the dominant team, and they're a good team. So obviously, like we said, we take positives from that and take that into Tuesday.
Liam, what Rovers have shown in the last couple of weeks against two teams in or around the playoffs is that they can match it, more than match it at times in the game. It's just now about taking that for longer periods, isn't it? And noticing when there is that lull to try and shore things up and make yourselves a bit more difficult to beat.
That's it. And we've seen them be able to do that against, MK Dons. They shored things up really, really well and never really looked like conceded, barring that one sort of nervy moment between Ollie Younger and Lewis Jones. But yeah, the defending in that one is fantastic. And I think they do look much more difficult to beat. They've got to carry that into each game. Every game's dangerous, and particularly when points are so desperately needed, you can't afford little slip-ups. And unfortunately, we saw a few on Saturday.
Kieran, watching on in that first half, Meepo had a couple of good chances, didn't he? And wasn't able to take them on that occasion. But as a centre forward, the positive thing is getting in those areas, isn't it? And if you keep doing that, the chances and the goals will flow.
Yeah, most definitely. As a striker, you're always told to keep getting in the positions, and if chances are coming, that you're in the right positions. So you got to keep plugging away, and as we've seen in training, everyone can finish in here. We've got good finishers, so it's only it will only be a matter of time.
Now, the appointment of Paul Warne 4 years ago as Rotherham manager had a lot of similarities to the one Rovers made with Gary McSheffrey at the end of 2021. The Rovers boss believes Warne deserves a lot of plaudits for his work done with the Millers.
Yeah, and you mentioned the job that Paul Warne is doing and continues to do at Rotherham. I just wonder how, do you take any inspiration from what he's done, coming into the club in the state that it was in when he came in, and you've come into a difficult circumstance at Doncaster Rovers, but if I offered you now some of the success that Paul Warne has had, would you snap my hand off?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Nice guy, I know him, humble guy, always there. If you ever need a chat, he's always at the youth team games and under 23 or reserve games we had in the past, watching the younger players. So, yeah, one of the qualities I'd take from him is just his human skills, his people skills. He's come in and he's just really, I think it's person before player, and I think that whatever player comes in and comes into that group, they'll give everything for him, won't they? And he's an emotional guy, and I really like how he builds relationships with his players, and he's had the time to do it, and he's had the success to show from that.
So Kieran, Paul Warne, of course, has been with Rotherham for a good few years now. A manager who was not really tried and tested when he was handed the role after Kenny Jackett's departure back in 2016 initially. But as Gary said, how much credit do you feel he deserves for the job he's done across South Yorkshire?
Massive credit. Since he's gone in there, he's done a fantastic job, and that's just credit to the person that he is. Obviously, when I was at Rotherham, he was there, and he had the same obviously mindset, and all the lads obviously looked up to him. And yeah, he was he's just a great person.
He's very relatable, isn't he, Liam? When you hear his press conferences, I know a lot of the local journalists really get on with him and enjoy the way he goes about his business. Gary McSheffrey's similar in terms of calm character, doesn't really give off too many sort of vibes at one time, but also very similar, as I said, in the fact that promoted from within, given a chance as a young manager, and Rotherham have shown how it can pay off.
They certainly have, and similar circumstances in that when Paul Warne got the job initially, it was a very, very difficult position that he took over Rotherham in, and he's done well, and he's built a strong philosophy, a strong way of doing things, and that's carried through. It's made them Rotherham an exceptionally strong League One team. They've been up and down, but every time that they come back down, they're always fancy to go straight back up because of the strength that he's put in there. They've kept faith with him, they've not panicked, and I think it's borne through. And as you say, very, very, very good manager. The surprise for me is that there've not been more teams knocking on the door to try and poach him away.
Do you feel that's why the loyalty has worked both ways then? The fact that Rotherham have stuck by him even through when they've gone back down to League One, and then even if there has been interest, perhaps he's looking at that and thinking, oh, they've stuck with me. And he does strike you, doesn't he, as a loyal guy, somebody who will stick by his principles.
Certainly does. I mean, it is Rotherham through and through. It certainly is. Obviously, from his days as a player there, and then returning as a fitness coach. And yeah, I think that loyalty is repaid. I'd like to see him get the opportunity to try it somewhere else. I'm sure Rotherham fans won't want me to be saying that, but no, it'd be great to see, because he has done a tremendous job, and it'd be good to see if he can carry that on elsewhere.
Kieran, with Gary McSheffrey being a young manager himself as well, I know you were the first of a fair few signings in January, but he's clearly got that nous about him, hasn't he, in spotting a player and having sort of the talk about him to sell the club as well and bring those players in.
Yeah, of course. I think it helps as well. So that obviously, as a young manager, he can relate a bit more to the players, And yeah, that's only going to be good for him and good for the club and the signings that he makes.
And it's needed, isn't it, at any club to have that stability. And if you've got somebody that the board, the owners trust, and the players trust as well, that can go a long way to success.
Oh yeah, most definitely. That obviously that's it builds, within, and that sort of trust that you talk about on the training pitch, and then it goes out onto the pitch. So it's good.
Olympic Lyon striker Rio Griffiths then became Rovers' 8th signing of the January transfer window when he penned a 2.5-year deal with the club on deadline day. And the former Spurs Academy product says he can't wait to show what he can do in Rovers colours. So Rio, you've joined Rovers on a 2.5-year contract from Lyon. How does that feel?
Well, I'm delighted to be here. Doncaster is a great club. They've obviously given me the opportunity to play football. It's the most important thing, so I just can't wait to get started, get out there, mixing with the boys. I think it'll be a good season.
And it's a deal done on deadline day. You've had the opportunity to train with your new teammates once or twice already. What have you made to it?
Yeah, it's massive it being on deadline day. I'm grateful that everything could be in place for today, for this move. Train with the boys, decent boys, very, very, very good. I'd say, talented, young. So I just can't wait to mix in and, help the team progress and, go from there, yeah.
Why was now the right time for you to make this move? You've had a few years at Lyon since making that big step for a young player to go to France.
Yeah.
Why now to come back to English football?
I think now is probably the best time because, I've matured as a player. I've developed quite a bit. So I thought, this is the right time to make the move. And progress from here, start my career, for sure.
The manager played a lot of games as an attacker in Premier League and Championship. How much do you feel you can learn from him, and how can he take your game to that next level?
Yeah, I think he's going to push me to be, a better striker. I can learn quite a bit off of him. During training, after sessions, some one-on-one, attacking stuff, help me, my movement, holding up. So I feel like he's going to have a big impact on my football here.
How excited are you to pull on a red and white shirt?
I couldn't explain to you how excited I am. I couldn't explain to you. This is a big moment for me, so I can't wait to get started, put on those boots, put on the red top, and get going. Yeah.
So Liam, another signing done for Gary McSheffrey. Rio Griffiths brought in, Gary mentioned after the game against Plymouth that he was looking to get a centre forward in to replace Omar Bogle, who obviously departed last week to go to Hartlepool. What do you make to this addition?
Different end of the experience spectrum from Omar Bogle, but a very exciting one. You know, obviously there were an awful lot of hype and of promise and excitement about Rio Griffiths when they were breaking through at Tottenham in their youth ranks. His scoring record absolutely phenomenal at that level, and it obviously attracted some big European clubs. He ended up going to Lyon. It's probably not necessarily worked out, you know, for him over there, but he's still young. You know, that scoring ability won't have departed from him, and now it's his opportunity to prove it that he can carry it forward at senior level. I like it. I think again it kind of similar to the Ollie Younger one signing in that Rovers will probably see the best of this down the line in the future. A very exciting one, but a player who hopefully can contribute now, as we've seen Ollie Younger do too.
Kieran, he's probably 10, 11 years younger than you in terms of his footballing career. How do you feel that you can help him, I suppose, as a more experienced striker in learning him the tricks of the trade in the EFL?
Yeah, of course, and obviously that starts on the training pitch, you know, and having obviously that kind of unity with the forward players. And I'm always here for advice, you know. So I'm happy to give any little advice that they may give. And obviously, as Leon touched on, his record is phenomenal at the level that he's been playing. So I've always said, once a goal scorer, always a goal scorer. And it's just about transferring that now, and and getting games under his belt and flourishing.
He's a big size, isn't he? He looks capable of handling the rigours of games. Saturday, Tuesday. It's something else, a different option for the manager, isn't he? Depending on who you play, depending on their strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, like you touched on, you know, it's obviously different. It's a different type of striker, so they're the options that the gaffer has, and it's only going to benefit the team.
Another former club then for you on Tuesday night in Rotherham, as we touched on earlier on, a club that you had a lot of success with, didn't you? What's it going to be like for you going up against them on Tuesday night?
Yeah, you know, I had a great time at Rotherham some time ago now. Yeah, but it's gonna be good going back there. But I've been back there a few times, so I'll be going there to get the 3 points.
What do you make to them this season as well? They've obviously again slightly in transition, albeit having kept a lot of the squad that were there last season in the Championship. They've made a couple of shrewd additions, but Michael Smith banging goals in left, right, and centre. Wherever you've got that, you've got a chance of being up the top end of the table.
Yeah, of course. As Leon touched on, you know, they've built a strong team. You know, every time they are in League One, they are seen as favourites to go up, and that's obviously a testament to Warney, who's done a great job there. So they're a very good team.
Liam, obviously covering the South Yorkshire patch, we hear a lot of Rotherham and the things they're doing well, and particularly Michael Smith up there. A lot of talk in the summer, was he going to move on? Maybe less so in January, despite having scored a lot more goals in the last 6 months or so. They've got him, they've got Chidozie Ogbene, and that partnership in particular from wing and striker, it's deadly, isn't it, at times?
Yeah, and when we've seen it in the past, quite ruthlessly up against Rovers, it's very good. And, you know, obviously, I think Rotherham have made their intentions clear that Michael Smith's going absolutely nowhere at this stage. You know, he's so key to what they do. And but as you say, Ogbene as well. Again, it's you thought that perhaps with both of those that they would see Rotherham's resolve tested a little bit, but I think they have been emphatic in these guys are here to stay for the rest of the season. We need them to get us into the Championship. But so strong, such a strong team. For me, I think they're the best team in the division. You know. And I know they've had the recent wobbles, but I think they'll prove it. And I would back them all the way for the title. Kieran, it's like Liam said, against one of the best teams in the league. Rovers saw on Saturday what can happen if you don't take your chances. That's even more the case, isn't it? On Tuesday night, every chance that comes, you'd imagine it will be a tight affair. Neither team really wanting to make a mistake when the chances come along. Whether it's you, whether it's Joe Dodo, whoever's up front, you've got to take those opportunities. Yeah, definitely. You know, they're obviously key moments in the games. You know, when you are on the front foot, you got to take your chances. Or obviously, you get punished. But as I say, we've proved that we can modern match for the better teams in the league, if you like. But obviously, we'll go there preparing the right way, and when them chances come along, hopefully we can take them.
Go on then, Liam. How do you see this going? Big South Yorkshire derby on Tuesday. A massive one at both ends of the table, isn't it? Where do you see it being won and lost?
I think Rovers have got to produce what we've seen them produce against the better teams in these last few weeks. A bit of a mixture of stuff. Thought they gave Wigan a really good game. Obviously, against MK Dons, fantastic defensive performance. On Saturday, took it to Plymouth as well. Probably a little bit weaker on the defensive side of things. I think it's got to be a mix of everything. That high-intensity attacking approach that we saw from the off on Saturday, fantastic. Don't have any fear at doing that against Rotherham, but you've got to be rock solid defensively too, because they will hurt you quick down the flanks. So I'm hoping the big occasion, plenty coming over from Rotherham, big crowd. Rovers will rise to the occasion, get something out of this. I'm going to go for a draw, though. As I said, at Rotherham, very, very strong team in this division, and my tip for the title.
Liam, Kieran, thank you for your company. Thank you at home for watching on as well. Get down to the Eco Power on Tuesday night, perhaps the biggest South Yorkshire derby both clubs have had in a long time, as Rovers take on Rotherham United.